Bot D. I'm here with Concordia. Concordia, how you doing today?
Good. How are you doing, bot?
Doing good, man.
I'm excited
Before,
for these third week of games.
yeah. So before we jump into the game, we're going to be casting Table 2 today. We are going to take a quick look at the standings. One of the reasons we're wanting to cast Table 2 today is if you look at the top here, we have Burnt and Frosticles, both with a perfect score after the first 2 weeks, and they happen to both be on the same table here today. So,
Yeah, tonight's
uh,
gonna be an exciting match. We're gonna see whose streak is who will be broken, or maybe both of them will be. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a new winner tonight. But it's definitely an exciting table to check out. Do you have any predictions, or you think you might win this week's table?
I mean, my heart says Frosticles, but I don't know Burnt that well, so he could come out as a dark horse and still continue his streak today. So I don't know. It's going to be tough to say.
Yeah, we also have bad at Gabe's. He missed the first week, but on the second week, he also got a first place win. So we have a bunch of people who have had strong starts in tonight's table. So it's going to be an exciting one to check out.
Absolutely. I'm ready to get started.
All right, and we are in the game already on our first hand. Let's see.
Frosticles debating what to do with those 18 Vikings.
Look at that, checks all around. Everyone getting their second card.
Got those first hand jitters. Nobody really wants to go in on the very first card.
Yeah. As we talked about before, I think when you have 7 or 8 people, it's definitely a better call to play conservatively. I think you said, you can't win at what was the exact say? You can't win
You can't win
in
a
the
poker
first
tournament on the first hand, but you can
right.
lose it.
Exactly. So I think we're definitely seeing that here with the checks all around.
There was a hand from the World Series of Poker main event several years ago that I remember. It was an all in and a call on the very first hand. It was aces over tens versus tens over aces. And the guy with the tens over aces just walked away from the table like, what did I just do? Like, you know?
Yeah. Maybe if you're playing casual game on the ladder, maybe that's something you would do just for fun, but I think when you're in the league and there's money on the line and points carry over from every week, everyone wants to do the best they can. So we see our first battle here. I don't know. Let's see. Looks like the Thors are getting destroyed. I think the Vikings certainly have it here in the air,
But
they're going to land. They're going to land right into the tanks.
Oh, that's not going to end well for the Vikings.
So Siege Tank's easily clearing that up. And we have, how do we pronounce his name? Is it Kylie? Cly. So Cly wins the first hand, only 15 gold though.
And the small pots kind of set you up for the later game. If you can win a few smaller ones earlier on, that still accounts for like being one big pot a little bit later when the antes are up to 5, 6, 8. The end crash with 16 ghosts here, definitely something to look out for. However, Frosticles with the 7 Thors, bad with the 23 wildcard units.
Yeah, I'm excited. I hope Bad plays these wild cards. 23 is a good number. I know sometimes wild cards, if you only have a few, they're not actually very exciting because you can probably get a bunch of tier 1 units or something and it's not going to be good. But with 23, I think that's a pretty strong hand to try to play with.
It's difficult to play sometimes, especially in early position, because you never know what you're going to roll with them.
Yeah, seven Corruptor's probably not exactly what he was hoping for, although not the worst.
He puts the wild cards in the back. I usually put the wild cards in the front, but I don't know. We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, I guess he's just thinking that the Corruptors are, considered one of the tankier air units. So maybe he just wants them to go absorb some stuff and hope he has some big DPS in his wild cards, but we'll see.
Everybody with the hand here. Frosticles picking up the 34 Marines, Cly with the 14 Dark Templar.
Yeah, and I mean, who knows what the wild card will be, but as of now, there's no there's no direct counter in anyone's hand to the DTs. So let's see what we get from the wild cards here.
That actually folds.
Oh, he folded, yeah. Wow.
Probably a good fold.
Yeah, considering the Thors here. Now, will the Thors be able to clear out the swarm hosts now? We got the 15 swarm hosts shooting their locusts. I think 2 Thors are about to die.
Yeah. That's a lot of locusts for Thors to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, by the time the Thors clear the wave, a new wave is spawned, so I think these Thors are going down. We're going to have Frosticles winning our second hand. Now, this was a larger pot.
Jeez. Taking down a nice little pot, yeah. Hand number 2, taking down a 64-bet pot. Ruark this time with 17 Phoenix, 32 Reapers for Yin Crash. Bad with the 8 Lurkers, but we actually had a discussion earlier today. He's just not a Lurker fan, so I don't think he's going to play them very aggressively.
Yeah, it checks all around. Looks like no one's wanting to be too aggressive. I think Burnt is probably going to maybe push a little bit with his Ravens. I feel like he should raise a little bit here.
We're putting a little bit of money in, yeah. Bad playing his 14 Swarm Hosts, hoping to get a few calls behind him. Burnt definitely going to be popping this pot up a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm expecting him to re-raise.
I'd like to see a good raise to like 13 or so. 15 works. Just about pot size, slightly under. Ruark with a quick call. Bad has to decide here whether or not those swarm hosts are going to be good.
I think looking at well, certainly he doesn't know that, but looking with what we know, he would probably be a good idea to fold, and that's what he does. Now, will the Ravens be able to take out all these air units in time?
That's a lot of bombs going off.
Yep.
Ooh.
Once again, the Ravens
Raven shots
showing their strong win rate live.
By this time with 20 Vikings, 9 Tempest for Burnt. Few wild cards for Yin Crash, nothing too crazy. Burnt with the Protoss 3/3 with his Tempest, though. Definitely trying to make a little bit more money off of this pot.
Yeah. Although I don't think the Tempests benefit the most from the attack upgrades. He gets 17 Reapers, which probably isn't what he wants to see.
No, definitely not. The Tempest, when you're playing for a draw, though, having those upgrades helps with the armor just in case you run into a bunch of Marines or something like that.
Yeah, I think right now we're looking at Klein in Crash I would have. It just all depends on the wild cards. But I think those Vikings will easily clear out the Tempest.
I like Yin Crash's hand. I don't like the click it back min raise. I don't think you have a particularly strong hand, and it can be vulnerable depending on what you roll in the wild card. I think a call would have been better there.
But we'll see. Wild cards, I don't think he necessarily got the best ones, but they're moving in. Letting all the air units fight each other. Maybe just this group of wild cards on the ground will be enough.
Looks like these Vikings are going to win, and then just as before, they're going to land and run into all of these lurkers.
Yeah. And we do also have the Thor and the Cyclone also chewing away with them while they're still in the air, so it's going to be an easy win for Yin Crash.
A lone battle cruiser for Frosticles to open up.
Yeah, it's always sad when you get a good card, but a low supply count.
It's always disappointing. You're like, I'm so close. If only I rolled a little bit better.
So far, we're seeing checks all around, so it looks like our players want to see their second cards. They have the 1/1 Zerg upgrades, but only one person with one Zerg card, the 11 Mutalisks of Mutant Crash, so no one's really going
Oh,
to be banking
wow.
on the upgrades here.
At least with the 1/1, you're not too worried about it. If it were 3/3 and the threat of like Mutalisks, Corruptors, Ultralisks, things like that were still floating out there, I think we'd get a little bit more conservative play than we're going to. As it is, Furtatus definitely has a playable hand. Burnt should be playing the Cyclones and DTs. If enough people come along for his low pot, Frosticles might try to play the Tempest, but I don't see him putting much money in the pot with that hand.
Yeah, I think Burnt is in the position here to win. I mean, there is, not even any defection anymore, so these mutas should just get destroyed, and then Dark Templar will take everything else out. Yep, last mutant goes down, so Burnt easily taking this hand.
Good Baneling count for Cly. 14 siege tanks for Ruark, 16 lurkers for Frosticles. Not too much in the air. We have 6 Phoenix for Yin Crash. I can't imagine he's going to put much money in with that.
No. But none of these hands look particularly very strong. I mean, some of them are alright, the tanks, the lurkers, but checks
Definitely
all
have some
around.
drawing hands. Some hands that need to see that second card before you go too crazy with them.
Yeah. I like Frosticles' hand here. The lurkers, I think they actually provide a great defensive position for your wild cards.
Mm-hmm.
You just let the wild cards sit there.
Interesting that Ruark is putting his ghosts behind his siege tanks.
Yeah, that is interesting. As he flips them back.
Okay.
Bat it with the Hydra Queen suited. It's an interesting hand. Maybe not the strongest looking hand, but the Queens are still, I think one of our top cards, especially for like a lower tier unit. The Transfuse and with the Hydras, but he folds out. Yeah, that raised 21 from Prostocles. I think he's probably just going to take this hand before it even comes to the battle.
Ruark is going to have to think about it for a minute. I mean, you have such a strong anti-ground, anti-caster hand. And he makes the call. Wow.
He's going for it, and he might actually have this with all these tanks. They're going to shell the entire ground army.
The 2 battle cruisers are going to be pretty strong here. When you only have ghosts to fire at air units, the capital ships are going to do really, really well.
Yeah. So, okay, well, the last tank comes out. Do these 2 BCs have enough time to kill these tanks? Probably. It looks like a lot of tanks are already bruised.
Grades on the field.
But it is going to be pretty close, I'll say.
Yeah. I don't know. It's looking pretty... Oh, 10 seconds already. I thought we had more time. No, not with the second tank hiding under there. I don't think it's going to happen.
Coming down to the wire, but no, we have...
Very close. Very close. Whoa, Frosticles with the 8 carriers this time around. Ruark with perfect count of Void Rays as well. Cly picking up quite a few Mutalisks. Some big hands at play here. Even Bad picking up the 15 Banshees.
Yeah, Frosticles with the... Yeah, several strong hands, actually. Yeah, the carriers are definitely favorites, but Void Rays, pretty good against carriers. 20 mutas, yeah. This is going to be an interesting hand. We'll see what they get for their second cards.
Those Ravagers are going to ruin somebody's day with all that air just sitting... Okay, well, never mind. Not if they're going to get folded.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he folded. I mean, Ruark raising 9.
Frosticles just setting the trap with the carriers doesn't really pay off with the second card. However, Ruark only with the 14 queens. Those aren't going to be too much of a problem for the carriers if they survive the Void Rays.
Yeah, I think with the Infestors, they're not the strongest card, but I think they'll lay down enough cover for the carriers to just clean everything else up.
Ruark with a big raise. Frosticles coming along, getting the bad news that Void Rays are on the table.
Yeah,
let's see how the fungals work.
Some nice fungals. Here comes the Infested Terrans. I think the AI of Ruark's hands are just not gonna know what to do. But then the Void Rays, you know, they turn on. They're on the carriers. It was a little bit closer than I was anticipating, but I think
coming down to the wire. I think these queens might be able to pick up the last of these carriers if one more goes down. Unfortunately, it doesn't.
No, we were close to the break point, but as often happens in StarCraft, even if you're just a little bit off from the break point, by the time the battle is done, it doesn't look like it, you know?
Yeah. And it's another point of where placement matters. Putting the Infestors in front, letting them get the fungals off on those Void Rays so they couldn't all focus fire down the carriers right off the bat.
Yeah, so I know it's early. We're only at our 8th half, but I want to point out, look at who our 2 top chip leaders are, Frosticles and Burnt.
Oh my goodness. 1 and 2 right at the top right now.
These guys are on fire in the league, I'll tell you that. We'll see what happens, of course. Plenty of game left to play, but off to a strong start.
Slugfest. Yin Crash this time with the 6 carriers. Frosticles, 16 ghosts. Bad debating what to do with the 10 Liberators. Just not quite enough of a count, I would say, to face this kind of action. I know he's going to time down and think about it for as long as he can. I'm glad he made that fold. Burnt this time with the 12 Archons. Picking up some hands all across the board here.
Yeah. Some strong hands indeed. Yin Crash with 6 carriers. Let's see what he does. Raises 14, and a lot of people are folding. Ruark calls with the Roaches. That's interesting. Well, I mean, he has the 2-2, but Roaches are definitely not a hand I think about as being a very playable hand in this game.
Definitely a drawing hand, and there's something that you'd want to play at a shorter table, maybe with 4 or 5 players left at the most. It's 7 players here. I don't think it's a really great play, and we're going to see that as evidence of the fact that the other players in that pot just have such strong hands right now. But on the other hand, it's not bad to mix up your range every once in a while. You want to, well, I'm sorry, I misspoke. You want to balance your range by playing some of these hands that are a little bit outside of what you would consider playable every once in a while, so that when you do show these hands down and people are like, whoa, they're going to remember that he actually played 25 Roaches to a pretty decent-sized raise here. That may be in the back of their mind next time that he raises with a big pot and, you know, this time has Ravens, Carriers, Battlecruisers, or the like.
Yeah, we saw a lot of those Seeker missiles going into the Roaches. I thought for a second there it wasn't going to be enough to take out the Carriers, but once again, the Ravens do not let us down.
Well, Ruark this time, busting out first.
GG, Ruark.
Hashtag Team Freezy in the chat. Frosticles picking up more than double the chips of Burnt right now. Burnt gonna have to look for a double up to continue his quest against Frosticles for the first place race.
Well, I think he's not giving up yet. Especially with the 7 BCs, now is an opportunity for him to get a little bit closer to that first place position in this game.
It's making the min raise this time. You're trying to maybe keep a couple extra people on the hook, but at the same time also not building quite as big of a pot, and you're wanting to get it heads up with those battle cruisers.
Yeah, drawing the 8 lurkers, probably not the best play. They're going to get demolished by the tanks and the Cyclones, probably. Let's see what happens with the Liberators here. Liberators kind of splitting between sieging the ground and attacking the air, and I think that's not what they want to be doing against all these BCs right now. BCs just being able to pick them off one by one. And they should have no problem clearing out the rest of these units, I would imagine. tanks, with the 1 armor taking a little while to die, but I think we still have plenty of time here. 10 seconds, so
Yeah.
the tanks are dead. But will he be able to kill his swarm hosts? I actually don't think so now. Yep.
No, splitting up for Tatis's money at least. And we have carriers on the board once again. Burnt this time with 4 of them. 17 Phoenix for Frosticles, 16 Swarm Hosts for Bad at Games. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of Swarm Hosts this game.
Yeah, it seems like almost every other hand someone's been drawing a decent number of them. I think that Battet should be playing the stand, and he does with the raise of 5. He has the 3/3 upgrades, Swarm Hosts.
He needs to get something going. He is at 17 bets, so he's not in danger right now. But it's not a comfortable stack size. It's one of those stacks where you basically have 1 play left before you're down to just being able to all in, and you really have to pick your spot carefully.
And getting 4 BCs, getting 4 BCs would be good. If the Phoenixes and Burnt's units, they caught in a frenzy, and the BCs can just kind of chill for a little bit and not take the brunt of the fire, I think he should be able to take this hand.
Well, those Tempests are going to be a problem from Burnt if they get into the BC targeting. But no, they're distracted with the Phoenix right now.
It's like a pretty 3-way split. Phoenix is attacking everything, BC is attacking carriers and Phoenixes. So I think that the BCs will easily get cleared up then by Burnt's air units. And now the question just is, will he be able to take out these 3/3 swarm hosts? The carriers are not going to be doing a ton of damage to them with all that armor, but
I think the swarm host was his insurance that he's going to be able to stay in the hand and take half the pot.
You could tell he's nervous though, typing "go away." He's not. He is not happy right now, as these Protoss units.
It looks scary, but I think he's going to be all right.
He's fine.
Yeah.
He's worrying about nothing. He gets his 38 gold, and he's back in the game. Now, also Battet, once again, waking up with 25 wild cards. So that is a
gotta
good
love
number.
the wild cards. With the 3 X-rays this time. Frosticles on the 15 Cyclones, about the only hand that really have a chance of standing up to it.
Let's see what he does. Does Frosticles call? He's thinking, nope, he folds. He doesn't want to. He doesn't.
Let it go.
He doesn't want to have anything to do with that.
Back up to 23 bets, so a little more comfortable now.
Yeah, he has more gold than he started the game with. That's always a good thing.
Definitely. Ooh, Frosticles picking up 50 Marines. Unfortunately, no upgrades on the table for him this time around.
Yeah, hopefully he can draw a Terran unit, at least give them a little bit of an attack upgrade. But against the fort. Oh well, never mind. I was gonna say, if we saw some of these Colossus or the Infestors, then I wouldn't be the happiest with those brains, but we'll see what happens. Nope, everyone just folds out.
Taking down those Andes once again. The Andes are definitely starting to get bigger in size, so it's really worthwhile just raising to try to take down the pot without that showdown, without risking losing the pot. Crash this time, all in with his 14 Ravens. Good luck.
Wow. Yeah, he doesn't have much made chips left, only 37, so he might as well. I think that's probably the play. Although I think he's hoping that someone calls. Maybe by
he's gonna think about it here. I don't think he's gonna make it though.
Do you like him going all in there? I mean, he wins the antes, but I feel like he could have won that hand probably. And maybe if he, raised a little bit less aggressively, he could have gotten a couple other people in the pot.
Problem is that anybody that's paying attention is going to know that he's raised in such a way so that his only remaining move is to all in and that he's already committed to the pot.
Right.
So it's almost in the sense that, like, by raising less, you're telegraphing the fact that you're super strong and you want calls. Whereas if you just go ahead and go all in, it looks more like a shove that you're just trying to steal the antes, and you may get somebody to come along at that point.
But what about just checking then and waiting for the second hand, waiting for a couple other people to So
When you're
hopefully,
that short, it's too dangerous.
too
Unless you've
dangerous.
been raising a bunch left and right, and your stacks just been all over the place, and like you've set that precedent of I'm going all in with a bunch of cards. If you just check and try to wait for somebody else to bet, you're waiting. You're potentially just going to lose an entire street of value and not be able to get all in after all. Especially if you draw a bad second card.
Right.
What was it? 14 Ravens?
Yeah, pretty good count. Maybe not the
Yeah,
best.
like not the best count, but a decent amount for a one-on-one. But if you stay in and potentially somebody min raises and then you get 3 callers, that's definitely not what you want to see when you have like middling count of Ravens.
Hmm. And Frostocles with a big raise here with his Colossus Marine combo. And he takes it out.
Good takedown by Frostocles, noting maybe a little bit of weakness.
Here he's waking up with some carriers. Not the biggest number, but still, even just 3 carriers, I feel like is not the worst hand.
They're absolutely playable in some situations. It's not something you want to take into a big pot, but in a table like this with only 6 players left, I'd take a shot with them for maybe a min raise or so, see what you draw on the second card, see if they can be supported properly, and get some DPS out of them.
Yeah, well, if we were playing single card mode there, I think he would be the winner here. So.
Yeah. oh, single card mode. I remember when they were still both available, and every once in a while I'd to be like, you know what, I need to take a break. I'm just gonna chill out and play some one card, and I would get about 5 cards into it, and I'd just be like, oh man, this is painful compared to 2 card.
Yeah, there's not much room for play in that game. It's kind of just like, oh, does this look good? Okay, I guess we're going in or not,
Yeah.
All right, let's see, we have some interesting combinations here. Crash with the DTs and the roaches. Not so bad, but we don't have no direct observers. Of course, Frostocles with the wild cards could draw an observer here.
And we do have Burnt with the Banelings that the DTs can blow up on.
That's true. Hopefully, Crash would swap the order of his roaches and DTs, I would think, though. So hopefully, and the Banelings are out anyway, so that's not going to matter this hand. I think it all just comes down to Frostocles here and what he draws. Oh, he folds, so now we're going to get a split pot.
Yep. Those Phoenix were just too pretty to not go all in on, especially with such a short stack.
All right, well, Frostocles will retain his number 1 position. Burnt still the number 2 position, although significantly less chips than Frostocles. Let's take a look here. None of these first cards in this 17th hand look particularly strong. I think we're going to probably see checks all around here.
Let's see, Yin Crash picking up the 7 Thor is definitely something to consider playing. Cly has the 25 Roaches we were talking about from another player earlier. I think the first person to bet is going to probably take this down. Yin Crash might be able to call a small bet, but he is at the bottom of the pack, so if anything, he just needs to go all in with it.
Yeah, here we have the big epic 7-way or 6-way battle. Kind of anyone's take, I would say. Maybe these carriers will be able to clear everything else out if the Thors can get chopped down. Ooh.
Thors are going to take a minute to try to change anti-air modes, and they're going to get shut down for the trouble.
Oh, that last carrier of Frostocles just died before the Banshees took him out. I think if that thing could have stayed alive, then he might have won this hand, or at least certainly would have tied.
Here come the Banshees for the Swarm Hosts.
Yeah, the Swarm Hosts.
Still probably looking at a split pot. I mean, that one Tempest is just not going to be able to kill the Banshees.
Yeah, I definitely seeing a split there between Frostocles and Badit.
Good split for Bad, though. 3 extra bets in your stack. Nothing to sneeze at this stage of the game.
I think the true power of the wild card is just that, especially if you have a decent number, you're going to have ground units, you're going to have air units, you're going to have stuff that attacks the ground, you're going to have stuff that attacks the air. Even if you don't
Yeah.
have a lot where you can overpower an enemy with a strong hand, it just gives you such a strong opportunity to at least tie.
It's definitely a jack of all trades, master of none hand. It gives you coverage in your weakest areas, but it's simply not going to be so overpowering that you can just run over a bunch of other hands, depending on the matchup.
Right.
Frittatas now with 6 Thors, bad this time with the 50 Marines and Terran 1-1 on the board. He has to come along for the ride on this one.
Yeah, I think that. Oh, well, not against the lurkers. I was gonna say the 50 Marines are looking pretty decent, but not against all those lurkers. They're just gonna
Well,
get shredded.
if the Oracles were to split right, they could have taken some of those lurkers out ahead of time. Also, the lurkers are coming around. The Marines were coming around the side of the lurkers, so there wasn't too much splash going on. But still, lurkers against Marines, not a good matchup for the Marines. They go down.
Yeah. And I think Frostocles will easily take this hand now with the Thors battering everything away. There's a tank on the ground sheltering these Thors, and maybe that'll be enough. But, well, actually, yeah. The 2 lurkers being killed with the medevac buying a little time. This is a close battle. Oof.
So much health on that medevac, though. It's just not going to go down, I don't think. Yep.
That was a close one.
Whoa, Thor's once again on the board. Perfect count for Cly with 8. 5 battle cruisers for Frostocles. 22 queens for Bad at Games. We're seeing a lot of good hands this game.
All right, and you think
Lots
Clyde's
of
going to
action.
raise? Let's see how much he raises here.
Burnt below 10 bets. He's going to have to start looking for a play here soon if he's going to stand up against Frostocles.
What? What was that? Clyde folded?
Some people are just not a fan of the Thors, man. I don't get it.
Maybe he sees the Zerg upgrades. Maybe he's just nervous about something, but I don't know. I think the 8 Thors, you gotta make a move with that. In this hand, I think Bad Games will be able to clear this out. There's a lot of, you see the capital ships and they look scary, but the queens have quite a strong anti-air attack. The mutas are doing a good job tanking right now.
Queens can heal the mutas too.
Yeah. You got the suited upgrade. Or no, I guess they're already 3-3, so there's no suited upgrade. But regardless, 3-3 queens and mutas, not something you want to mess with.
That's quite a hand there, taking down some capital ships.
Bad with the strong win of 232 gold, putting him in second place, just right behind Frostocles now.
Crash this time with the 23 wild cards, once again on the table. It's about all there is to write home about this time. Frittatas does have the 6 Colossi. We've talked about Colossi before. I'm not a big fan of them. It seems like some of the players are, so folds them this time around with the 10 bets, 10 bets remaining.
Yeah.
Bad this time jumping up to 220 gold.
I think an instant surrender. He saw the High Templar count. He saw the pure number of wild cards that he wasn't even going to bother.
Yeah, that was not going to work out well.
All right. Let's see. Frosted is waking up with the 24 Corruptors. That's a pretty decent hand, I would say.
Hopefully Bad's not going to play the 16 Banshees this time around with those Corruptors on the table.
Yeah, hopefully not. Checks all around, so I'm sure he'll... Oh, he raises.
There it is.
Well, we'll have to see what the second cards are, but I'm sure that Frostocles will probably call, and that will not put Bad in the best position yet so far.
Such a big raise as well. I'm wondering what the purpose of that is. Whether he's actually just trying to take the pot down, or if he thinks it's a value raise and he's trying to make some money.
Yeah, I think it's the former there. I think he's just trying to take the pot down. And it looks like he will. I can't see Yin Crash calling with 1 BC.
No.
We'll we'll see how Frosticles plays the Thors this time. He has 7 of them. No upgrades on the field. And he raises 14. Do we have any calls here, you suspect? Yin Crash, he has the 40 Reapers. It's a high number, but Reapers are probably one of the lowest tier units that we have in the game, so I don't see him calling.
It's true, but with proper numbers and a couple of upgrades, those Reapers do a large amount of DPS to ground units.
For sure. If you've ever played any actual StarCraft with me or Scally Jelly, you know that we love our Reapers when they come in and just destroy all of our workers. So they're certainly a strong unit.
Oh, they're terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. As a Zerg, I can't get behind this Reaper harass.
All right, Cly going all in with his 20 queens and 19 phoenixes. I have a couple other strong hands out on our table here. Frosticles with.
I like Clyde's play as sort of a stop and go. It's hard to make a 2-card hand in this game. Even with a good starting card, a lot of times you draw that second card and you don't make anything. So with him having a strong first card and drawing a good second card, going ahead and shoving all in his first to act is likely to take down the pot a lot of the time. Unfortunately, he's running into a couple of good hands here, but as a general rule, I do like that play every once in a while.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. This is going to be an interesting hand. It's hard to call, exactly. I think that the 20 queens are actually in a pretty decent position. The Thors are kind of getting distracted with the air units. Let's see what happens here. He still has 19 queens alive.
The Thors are going to start mowing them down, though. They're going to ignore the Phoenixes because the Phoenix can't actually lift the Thors.
Yeah, with no attack upgrades, I think these queens are just not good enough against these Thors.
No, not at all. Frosticles takes it with the Thors. 325 chips in the pot. That's going to be a new chip leader once again. Frosticles with almost, about half the money in the game now. We did start one player short. So this is gearing up to be a showdown between Frosticles and Bad at Games. Burnt, this time only picking up 1 Ultralisk, and with only 2 bets left in his stack, he's really going to need some miracles to come back in this game.
Yeah, but not impossible. I had a game with you last night where I was at 16 gold, and then I came back and was in second place for a while, so certainly anything is possible.
Several of us in the Discord have either witnessed or personally come back from just 1 gold left, so, I mean, anything is possible in this game.
Let's see, who we favor here. I guess it just kind of depends on the wild cards. Whenever we have wild cards, it's so hard to call or predict what will happen exactly. But it looks like maybe Frosticles' air army might be a little bit too much. The BCs, Tempest in the background, just hammering everything away. The Medevac's desperately trying to keep things alive, but not up for the task, I would say.
Afraid not. Those Tempest battlecruisers are pretty darn strong. Fritadas, GG.
Frosticles with the 420 gold, going to 577. Very strong lead for him. That trailing in second place.
They're close to 2/3 of the money in the game now.
Yeah. Although Battle still has a decent amount of gold, so he's still certainly in this game. Burnt and Yin Crash definitely on their last legs.
Bad this time, raising the 3 DTs, taking it down. Yin Crash with 47 Marines this time around. I mean, I would go with this here. You're so short. Anything that looks halfway decent has to go in, and 47 Marines is way above, like, half decent.
Oh, yeah. He checks, but I think now he's going to just be... With the Banshees... I'm sorry, the Ravens.
The Ravens, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to get the 1-1, which is great for the Marines. Should have no problem clearing this out. And he does go all in. Burnt not in the best position here. I think this is going to be the end of the dream for Burnt.
Here's the problem with waiting on that second card to go all in. Everybody has seen their second card now. Everybody knows that we're not drawing anything else. If you choose to check your first card and then wait for the second card and then shove all in, you're once again signaling that you actually hit something and that you don't want to get called. Well, that you want callers. Therefore, other players are going to balk at putting more money in the pot, even as cheap as it is. This time it worked out for him, but I definitely recommend going all in on the first card when you're that short if you pick up something halfway decent.
So are we going to have enough energy to take out these carriers? Doesn't look like it.
I don't think so.
No. Well, it looks like we're in that 20% time where the Ravens don't win it. The 20% occurrence.
It looks like this is going to be a double knockout. Yen Crash already out, Burnt already out.
10 seconds left. Do these 3 carriers have enough time? I don't think so.
Now here's the question. Does Frosticles close out and continue his 3-week reign at number 1? Or does Bad at Games come back and take down his second table?
Yeah, it's going to be a big question here. Now we're in the heads-up phase of this game, so we'll see these 2 great players duke it out.
Bad with 13 bets. Frosticles about, oh, I can't math right now. Well, now at 30.
Lurkers versus Thors.
Gotta love the Thors in that situation.
Yeah.
Look to see Bad at Games setting a trap, actually. Frosticles not stepping in it.
Although getting the, I think Frosticles actually, though. We'll see. We have the 15 Cyclones. The Lings are not going to do anything.
Oh, not at all.
So I think I gave this hand to Frosticles, but we will see. Perhaps I am overvaluing the ability of Thors, or Cyclones, but no, I don't think so.
It looked like the Zerglings actually distracted the Lurkers long enough from hitting the Thors to keep them from doing too much damage. Coming down a lot closer to the wire than I thought it was going to.
Yeah. But no, Frosticles takes it out. Yeah, the legs distracted a little bit, but no, Lings are like pretty much the worst unit you could possibly imagine against Lurkers.
Frosticles this time with the DTs.
Yeah, the DTs, he's looking to clear that out.
Bad down to 10 bets left. He's going to need to make a play here soon. 9 Void Ray is definitely playable, but it's only up against 2 Colossus, so I don't think that's going to be much of a pot.
Yeah, so see, he checks there. See, I like that check. Yeah, he maybe could have, like you said, he could have raised, but then he probably, Frosticles would have just pulled it out immediately. And,
well, now we have a hand.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think this is going to go to the battle phase. Ooh, an all-in from Bad. Wow.
Definitely a strong hand. Call? I doubt it, but it's oh, wow, he does make the call.
All right, well, let's see what happens. He has a lot of storms.
Right after the battle cruisers as they get targeted down.
I think that he should have this. One more storm. This Void Ray's going to town. Yeah, look at that. Nice all-in from Bad Games.
Back in this once again. Very close to even stacks. Or, well, never mind. Hand goes bet fold. Frosticles just running into these carriers over and over again. First 4, now 5. Bad at Games with the 15 Lurkers. Definitely more playable in a heads-up situation. Not going to be a great situation this time around, though, against the carriers.
Yeah, you rate Frosticles re-raising him.
No. Oh, no.
Ooh.
Well, I don't think those 26 Marines are going to be enough to deal with the carriers.
I don't think so either. especially as they run in, get swiped by the last remaining Hellion shots.
That's gonna do it.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll wait it out just to see if the timer comes in his favor, but oh no,
There it is.
not even bothering. All right, wow, GG. GG to Frosticles.
Frosticles with a perfect 30 points in week 3 of our league. Wow, what a performance.
Yeah, absolutely. That also though with a great performance, after missing that first week, he's off. He can't be too upset with getting second place here.
Oh, not at all, especially with us dropping the lowest score of your 6-week run. Bat is definitely in good position with 18 points right now. Technically, if you want to get into it, Frosticles right now is only at 20 points since we would drop the 10.
Right,
so
right.
Bat, only 3 points behind. I'm sorry, at 17.
Yeah, so that was a great game. Let's see. Well, we don't have the ability to give live updates from the other games, unfortunately, right now. But they will be casted and posted on YouTube, I'm sure, sometime in the next couple of days. So this has been an exciting night, I would say. Definitely a lot of action on this table. Have any last thoughts about tonight's game?
I'm excited to see Frosticles going forward. I want to see if he can actually shut out a perfect 6-0 run here in the league, or if somebody's going to be able to stop him.
Yeah, he's off to a tremendous start, without a doubt. Well, that is our game for tonight. Hope everyone who tuned in enjoyed. And we will be back next week with our 4th week of game. Or I think next week. I have to double check the schedule tomorrow. Next week is actually our off week, I believe.
Yeah, I think next week is actually our week off.
So we will be back in 2 weeks then. Sorry about that. With our 4th week of games, and we'll see if Frosticles can continue his run and how our other players stack up.
Sounds good.